All right. Good evening and welcome to the public hearing regarding the proposed 2020 budget for the town of Sevastopol on Monday, November 25th, 2019, and it is 6 p.m. So, based on what we have done in the past, I will continue to move forward with a similar approach, which is I will take you through the budget. I will not bore you with all 412 items. I will highlight those items that have a positive or negative change and try and give you a little background on those items if you have interest. If you have questions on something, raise your hand or say something and we'll try and address your questions as we go. And typically this will take about 20 minutes to half hour of your time, and then we'll move on to the hearing to approve the levy. Okay, any questions from anybody before we get started? Hearing none, we will go. Okay, I'm going to start with expenditures under general government. I'm going to talk first, we'll start off here with line 8, which is the clerk treasurer's salary. We have given the clerk treasurer Amy a 3% increase for the year, taking her salary to $53,700. Both Amy and the town contribute to her retirement. She does not receive any benefits from the town beyond her retirement and her salary. Next item that has a change to it is our attorney's fees, increasing from $12,000 at our year end to $12,000 from 2019 to $15,000 in 2020. We have a number of issues that we are trying to work through. One is an ongoing lawsuit that comes back and forth, which is yet to be settled, and will carry over into the 2020 timeframe, I'm sure. And we're also working to take care of some dilapidated buildings, such as the Muscat property, which is the series of homes and barns that are next to C&W Auto or across from the mill, if you've seen them on Highway 4257. So we are putting significant resources in behind trying to clean that property up. There are a number of legal matters that need to be resolved, including a fuel tank that has gasoline in it, and so our attorney is engaged in working through those issues, and hence the need for the increase. Dues and membership, we have a slight decrease from the current year from $3,000 to $2,500. Poll workers, line 15, will probably have a fairly substantial increase because we're looking at 4 elections in 2020. And if you go back and look at the last time we did that, we're around $9,000. We don't obviously have any control over that, but we do have to pay the poll workers, and there's costs incurred with that. Our internet and website expense is a decrease from $3,000 to $1,650. We're able to work through retaining our current vendor who gave us an upgrade at a very good price. If you haven't seen our website, I would encourage you to take a look at it. There's a lot of nice enhancements to it, as well as links to things like YouTube videos. So if you don't get our TV station but would like to watch the town board meetings, you can do so on YouTube. And the one nice thing about YouTube is you can advance it. So if you get tired of listening to me, you can move the little slider and skip over it and go to the next item. Office supplies, we have a change there from the current year of $2,300 to $6,000. This is based on a recommendation from our IT professional who has warned us that the continuing problem of ransomware could affect the town. We do external backups. We do internal backups, but it is his recommendation that we make a change and provide our own security on site. So we'll have our own server and the necessary software to ensure we don't get locked out of our own equipment. And in addition to that, the state has come back and told us that we all need to upgrade our PCs for for elections, as you're aware of the numerous problems that are tied to that. So that's the reason for the increase. Obviously, it's a significant one, but it's something I think we need to do. The other categories in there are basically unchanged. So we'll go down to the next page, line 28, Town Hall Grounds. This was budgeted in 2019 at $9,000. Current year will be, or future year I should say, is $5,000. That's a decrease, and part of that is the fact that last year we budgeted to put an extra light pole out at the driveway so those people coming in, especially in the winter months, could find the driveway a little easier. And we're also hopeful that, although the weatherman says the snow is going to be here, we're hopeful that it isn't. And that attributes some of our costs last year and hopefully not this year. Underneath Town Park, item 34, we have town employees. Not a big change there from 18,500 to 19,000. The message here is that we can use people. So if you know somebody that might like a job next year to cut some grass and do some ball fields, we would certainly like to talk to them, and we pay pretty good, which is one of the reasons for the increase. So if you like riding on a lawnmower, please let Mark Hain know. Minimal increase in our business owner's insurance, which is through rural, from $12,000 to $13,002. They kind of catch us every year. What you do with your phone, it still starts. Wisconsin Retirement System under line 41. This is the matching monies that the town contributes towards Amy's retirement, as well as what she contributes. There's been a change in the rate structure as provided by the state, and we're obligated to meet that. That's a slight increase there. Plan commission expense decreased from $24,000 to $4,500. Obviously, the big reason for that is we hopefully, as of tonight, will have finished our comprehensive plan, and so we will not have to dedicate those dollars to funding that expense. We still will retain our relationship with Bay Lake Regional Planning, and so the dues there represent almost all of the money for the Plan Commission. So the next item would be under fire protection, which is line 47. We negotiated, our contract expired this year. We negotiated a 2% increase for next year. We're working with the city now to attempt to create a long-term renewal of our fire coverage. Our last contract was for 7 years. We're hopeful to do at least 5, if not longer, based on our initial conversations. We do not know at this time what our costs will be. It's a work in progress. But you'll see the increase was from $349 last year to $356. Going down to Public Works, line 57 under road maintenance mowing. Every 3 years, we have to cut what's called fence line to fence line. So instead of doing what we call a single cut, which is just off the edge of the road, we have to go all the way over the fence line, and this is to prevent the growth of shrubbery and small trees and everything else that pop up in that area if we don't keep it clean. Otherwise, you'll be driving down the street lined with a forest. So this is the year that that comes into play, and that's why the increase. Road maintenance and repairs, we went from $12,000 to $36,000, and this represents some chip seal, but it also, I believe, if I'm correct here, Amy, this was also due to an error that we made in how we accounted for chip seal out of our road repair.
Yes.
So we had to correct that, and it's reflected here. Road construction, line 61. We're going to continue with our $275,000 investment in road construction. We had done $200,000 in the past. We did $275,000 last year. We hope to do the same next year. There's only one way to get at these roads, and you have to make the investments. The other thing that we have done, the state came back to us this year, not back to us in general, but to all communities, and said they would put together a special funding where the state would give you an opportunity to submit 3 roads from each township, village, or city for funding from the state's pool of money, in which case the town would receive 90% funding for that project, and the town would be responsible for 10%. We have submitted 3 roads for that, with the hope that one of those roads would clear the hurdle, because obviously everybody's going to be in the mix, and that would give us potentially another $100,000 on road repair that we would otherwise have to budget for. So with a little bit of luck, in the end of February, 1st of March, they'll call us and tell us that we have been granted one of the 3 roads, and that'll add to our workload. Snow removal, line 63. If we could get our arms around this, they wouldn't need George Graffis at WBAY. We continue to have to increase this item as our snow removal continues to grow. Last year we did $110,000. We expect to end out the year at 140. 14 years ago it was 40,000. So you get some idea of the costs. So we're going to, hopefully 130 covers our expenses this year, this go round. Tree trimming, this is another area of kind of unexpected cost. As you're all aware, the ash trees are falling over left and right, and, and with that, so goes our increase in our budget to maintain the right-of-way. I think we did 30-some trees on Bayshore Drive this summer, and you see them everywhere. So we have to continue that effort to try and keep up with the trees and not impact everybody. So kind of covers everything on that page. Culture, recreation, and education, line 74. We have a decrease in the Clark Lake Beach ramp. We had budgeted $4,000 last year, and that was for a project that was going to be done jointly between the town of Jacksonport and the Clark Lake Association in dredging. They canceled their participation, which freed the money. We have since moved that money over to the park for next year. So the decrease from $4,000 to $1,600. Town park grounds, line 81. Budgeted $8,000 last year. It's going to drop to $4,250 this year. Part of that expense in the current year, this year, was that we had a number of maintenance items to take care of at the park, one of which was crack filling the parking lot so that we don't have to invest in new pavement prematurely. We also had a grub problem on the ball fields. The skunks came in and chewed up our fields, so we've had spring green in there, which is not inexpensive. But anyway, this next year it'll approximately be half of the amount. Okay, under cable communications, all those expenses are pretty much identical. I guess I just would make the comment is that our goal as a town is to try and increase access to our board meetings. And we're focused this year on expanding our ability to get more on YouTube, which permits people at home that have any kind of internet speed to be able to stream versus having to have charter to access the PEG channel. So our focus is there, and we'll work towards that. Line item 92, Sturgeon Bay Visitors Bureau. There has been a request from an individual with the Sturgeon Bay Visitors Bureau to make a donation to help in the tourism. We had a little extra money this year, so we have decided that we would contribute an initial investment of $5,000. This goes towards supporting the expansion of tourism in our community, which to a large degree drives the hotel occupancy rate, which in turn drives our allocation of the room tax dollars back to the town. So we think it's a good investment, and I'm sure they'll put it to good use. So. Okay, under capital outlay, so that's on the next page, starting on line 98. The board has met in the last couple of years and sat down and tried to assess what capital improvements we need and a way to fund them versus having to reach into the till on an as-needed basis and fund it. So we have put in place a replacement strategy, and we have made a commitment to fund those each year until we have the adequate funds to purchase or address the particular need. In this case, with the park, we've gone, we will put in this year $23,000, and this is going to be for replacement and also for reconstruction of the tennis courts. And we are looking for investments, or I should say donations, from a few of the charitable organizations in town to help us with this effort. It will be expensive. We're also funding some additional expansion on our cable committee, cable communications from 2005. And we lastly have capital town hall grounds. This year we're going to fund $36,000. We have $14,000 in that fund currently. And this is directly out of our room tax. And basically what the board has agreed to do is we are going to maintain a $50,000 balance in this account on an ongoing basis. And this will fund any and all repairs, replacements, or whatever else we might need here at the town hall. For those of you that were here the last couple of years, you know, we experienced some problems with our water, and we had to invest in a new well, which chewed through $21,000 or $22,000 of our funds at that time. So we're going to maintain the 50. If we dip into it next year, we'll replenish it. If we don't, we'll carry it over. The same thing with all of these capital items. They'll be carried over year to year to accumulate the necessary funds, so we don't have to go cough up 20 grand for a new truck or whatever it might be. Under 105, debt service principal. Last April, we were able to burn the mortgage on this building, and that's what's given us the ability to do some things that we weren't able to do in the past, such as spend more money for roads, give a little money to the tourism, for tourism and other areas that we've made investments, as well as funding our capital outlay. So the good news is there is no payment to be made there, so we were able to make our budget stretch a little bit better than we had in the past. Under highway aids, item 113, this has been an issue with the Wisconsin Towns Associations and all the towns and villages in Wisconsin. The state gives us back a share of your tax dollars to maintain the roads. Unfortunately, they never give us enough or even close to enough. But the WTA and its lobbying group has been able to move the state in the last 2 years, and we've been able to increase the amount of funding that they've given us for our roads. And I think we're probably in the 30,000 plus maybe or more over the last couple of years, which is great. We can certainly use it. So hopefully they will continue with that. Everything else on that page remains pretty much the same, as well as the following page, pretty much static items that have little or no change up or down. Room tax receipts, if you look down on 143, this is, you've heard us talk about this in the past. It was a great thing because it's what gave us this building over time, but there is some risk associated with it. And you may have heard Jim Nellen talk about it, which is Airbnb and VRBO, which are the two largest wholesalers, if you want to call it that, of personal residences for rent, have decided that they are not going to divide back the room tax dollars down to the street, town, village level, which could put some of our money at risk at some point in time, although numerous resources are being put to try and correct that. Just wanted to address it as a potential future problem. So, that being said. So if you'll jump to the next page and go down to 153, subtotal revenues, in terms of what the town expects to get, you'll see our budget last year was $470,000. This year we expect 472, virtually little or no change. Underneath total levy for line item 158, our budget last year was $666,951, and this year it'll be $626,658, or a decrease of $40,200 and some odd dollars. We will once again take some of our cash reserves and apply it against the levy to make sure our tax increase is non-existent, and in which case I think you saw in the paper it's a 6% decrease in taxes year over year. So good news from that. So our total expenditures and debt budget from 2019 was $1,271,940, and this year will be $1,237,250, or a decrease of $35,000 year over year in the town's budget. And as I mentioned, the mill rate will decrease by 7 cents per thousand. So last year, if you're in the mills and Last year's rate was 0.933313, and this year it'll be 0.865497,483. I don't know why we need to, well, we do, at any rate. So the gist of it is it's not an increase. You're seeing that from other people, but you're not seeing it from the town, the school, obviously, and the county and others. But I think we're in good shape here. So those are the highlights or the lowlights, depending on how you look at it. Anyone have any questions regarding any of this? I'd be happy to try and answer them if I may, or if I can. Hearing none? All right. In which case, we will close the hearing regarding the proposed 2020 budget. And as we have noticed, we will go to a notice of the special town meeting for Monday, November 25th at 6:30, which is immediately following our public hearing. And we will start with a Pledge of Allegiance. So if you join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. It seems a little redundant. Let's do introductions, just in case someone just tuned in. Amy?
Amy Fleck, Clerk Treasurer, County Road P.
Mark Haynes, Supervisor, Peterson Road.
Jim Nellen, Supervisor, Lori Lane.
Dan Wolfle, Chairman, Bark Road.
Linda White, Supervisor, 5075 Bluff Court.
John Stavnes, Supervisor, Whitefish Bay Road. Derek.
Derek Neal, resident, County P.
Thank you.
Bob Gamble, county resident, or township resident, Reynolds Road.
Pam Seiler, I am a town resident, South Shore Side Circle, and also a representative of the Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center.
Jenna Seiler, township resident, South Shore Side Circle.
Who's in back? I can't see. Sir?
Non-resident.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, sir.
Tom Schwalbach, non-resident.
Okay.
I'm Jim Mitchie, 4159 Bay Shore Drive, resident.
Tom, one of you?
Whitefish Bay Road.
Christine Witzmacher, Whitefish Bay Road.
Hughes up Pleasant Drive.
Joe Nellen, Laura Lane, resident.
Larry, you're last.
Just a second here, I'm tied up. Patty Chapman didn't drive.
All right, good enough. So at this meeting, you can make a move to approve the minutes and/or approve, and you will hopefully move to approve the tax levy. And first order of business there, I'm looking for the minutes in all of my files. Thank you. All right, minutes from the special board meeting of November 26th. So a motion to approve those would be in order.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion by Laddie, a second by Derek. Any discussion or corrections? If not, we can all vote on this. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you for that. The next item is just the actual resolution for the approval of the tax levy. And I would like to know all of the things that I have comprehensive plan levies, I have ordinance levies. I'm missing the one that I need. This is oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Here it is. I'm sorry. I've got way too many things for tonight's meeting. I apologize. I'm trying to remember where I put this. Here it is. I've got it. Thank you. Okay. So, resolution. I know you love me to read these things, so I'm going to do that for you. Resolution number 5-2019, T for town. Adopt the tax levy for 2019 to be collected in 2020. Whereas Section 60.10, Section Paragraph 1, Paragraph A of Wisconsin statutes authorizes the town electors of a town to adopt the tax levy at a town meeting of the electors. And whereas the special town meeting of the electors of the town of Sevastopol has been called for this 25th day of November 2019. And whereas the 2020 proposed budget as presented by the Town Board of Supervisors projects a total expenditure of $1,237,250 with a general property tax levy of $626,658. Now therefore, the special town meeting of the town of Sevastopol, Door County, Wisconsin, by a majority vote of the eligible electors voting on this 25th day of November 2019, duly assembled and voting, resolves and orders as follows. To be it resolved that the electors of the town of Sevastopol, Door County, Wisconsin, hereby adopt a tax levy for 2019 to be collected in 2020 in the amount of $626,658.00. Adopted this 25th day of November 2019 at a special town meeting. So we would have a motion to approve, a second, and then we would vote. So whoever would like to do.
Motion to approve.
Again, a motion by Laddie, a second by, second by Hughes L. All right, any comments, anything at all? All right, so we will take a vote. All those in favor of adopting the levy, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none. And the number of electors you have except for one?
16.
16?
Are you counting Pam's daughter?
Are you 18?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
She's a registered voter.
Okay,
Okay, good.
so 16.
So we have 16 positive, 0 negatives, so vote carries. All right, great. So are there any other resolutions, anything that anybody might have submitted or wanted to submit that we are unaware of? If not, the best part of this meeting is I get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. First by, I'm sorry,
Jim Mitchell.
Jim. A second by?
Second.
All right. Second by Laddie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned. We are back at 7 p.m. if you're going to wait with us. I'd like to call to order the Board of Supervisors meetings for Monday, November 25th, 2019 at 7 p.m. And let's start off with a roll call to establish a quorum. Amy?
Supervisor Mark Hain.
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Here.
Supervisor John Stavenus.
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfle.
Here.
Supervisor Jim Nellen.
Here.
All right. Next item on our agenda is the meet and greet. We went through a little bit of this in the earlier meetings that we had, so we could either do it all over again, or we could see if the people who are new would identify themselves. Let's try that. The people that came in after our budget meeting, would you mind introducing yourself? And we can start, there we go. Thank you, Nancy. Good start. Next.
Brenda Lang. Mary Monster.
Jeff Lang.
Yeah, thank you. Over here on the left, we had some people that came in late.
Jim Schultz.
Jim, thank you.
Darren Andre.
Don Heenan. Hebert Ramos.
Cool, okay. Welcome and thank you. Sorry, did I miss somebody? Good, okay. Next item is public participation. Does anyone here have something they'd like to speak to that's, give a couple minutes to do so? Yes, sir.
Check up there or just?
Depends on what you're gonna do.
Sure.
If you can speak loudly, you can stay right there.
I'll go there.
If you like.
Most people say I don't speak too loud.
All right.
I won't break the microphone this time.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jim Mitchie, 4159 Bay Shore Drive, full-time in Sevastopol. I proved it by wearing my Sevastopol
Do that, yeah.
Pioneer shirt tonight. I'm here to, representing the Bayshore Property Owners Association, of which I'm a member, a board member, and the chairman of the Special Committee on Quarry Development. On behalf of the more than 350 property owners represented by the Bayshore Property Owners Association, we want to thank the Sevastopol Planning Commission and the town board for their hard work on the comprehensive town plan update and congratulate them on a job well done. The BSPOA board, together with the Old Quarry Development Committee, will be working with the town, the county, and the property owners to pursue the goals of the town plan anticipated to be adopted tonight. Thank you again.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, hearing none, we will move on. Let's start off with a motion to adopt the agenda, but first I'll ask, was it properly noticed?
The agenda has been properly noticed.
Thank you very much. All versions of it properly
Plenty of
noticed?
time, plenty.
This was an agenda festival, this meeting. Motion to adopt the agenda would be appropriate.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion by John, second by?
I'll second that.
Second by Jim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, adopted. Next item would be the approval of minutes from the Special Board of Supervisors meeting from November 14th and the Board of Supervisors meeting from October 21st. So,
October 14th, you mean, not November.
I'll move to accept the minutes of the Special Board of Supervisors meeting of October 14th, 2019, and the regular Board of Supervisors meeting held on October 21st, 2019.
motion by Linda, second by,
Second.
pardon me?
Jim and I are fighting.
Second by Mark. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, pending business. First one here is the ongoing, never-ending Muscat property. We're making progress here. It's only been 14 years, but we are making progress. So we have a court date set for December 3rd, which our town attorney will represent us to regarding the deed, the ownership of the property, which has been under question. He's got all the necessary paperwork and the date, and the individuals have been served, so we're hopeful that on that hearing, the judge will assign ownership to the heirs, and that will lead us off to the DNR and the Department of Justice for to chase the removal of the fuel pump and tank, which is in the ground. We are currently in the process of obtaining estimates for demolition of the buildings. So we've asked for estimates for each of the homes independent of one another. So in the event, as you well know, we don't have a lot of funds, we may end up taking a building or two down a year until we remove them and assign the cost to the taxpayer. Not the taxpayers, but the owner. And the next step in the process will to be condemn the property, and that'll be done by our building inspector, and then we have to take some steps then to go about to the court to go back and do some work to get permission to actually demo some of the buildings. So, and the last item is I have been in contact with the county and hope to be at a December meeting of their committee there, asking them for their involvement and to hopefully give us some additional dollars to help cover the costs. I've had some preliminary conversations with a couple of people on the board, and it's possible that they may look favorable at helping us as they realize this is the, I want to say, the entrance to the Door County Coastal Byways. So there is some interest on their half, and maybe we will be fortunate enough to have something done. And the last thing is, we did receive from the DNR a liability clarification letter, basically telling us that we can demo the buildings as long as we do not mess with the foundations. and we will not have to be concerned about any environmental liability that might entail with the removal of those tanks. So all good news, more progress than we made in a long time. So we'll see what happens on December and report back then. So,
Dan,
yes.
on that picture that shows the property line,
Yep. You mean this?
yes.
Okay.
Does that go right through C&W's building?
No, those are aerials, they take these pictures off the Door County website, and in fact, I supplied most of them to them, so I'm sure they just,
It's too far over?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it looks like where they do most of their business, it goes right down the middle of their building.
Yeah, because there are 4 homes on there and the mobile home, and you can't make out where the mobile home is in there either. But it is in there, just to the north of 4149. So, we're there. And I'm going to just jump one up and talk about the Van Bellinger update, since that's also had some limited update, and that is that they had a scheduling meeting set up, but now it's been delayed because the Van Bellingers, their attorney has engaged their title company, and as a result of that, the title company is now part of the lawsuit, and so there's some lag time here while they get the necessary motions and paperwork, et cetera, completed. So it's still moving, but at a snail's pace, so give you some idea of that. And then the other item is the multimodal applications, and I talked a little bit about this earlier during the budget session. This is the special fund of, I think, $70 million that the state put up as a one-time deal where they would fund 90% of a given project, and the town had to fund the remaining 10%. They're giving each town, village, and city an opportunity to apply for up to three projects. In our town, we submitted 3. 2 have been accepted, which is the pavement of Plure Road. It's one of 2 town roads that are still gravel. And the other one is the reconstruction of Bark Road, which is a very small town road running between Whitefish Bay and Glidden, Glidden Drive that has a serious flooding problem. So we have submitted 2. We will not know until the February-March timeframe whether or not the state and the board that will review these will grant us any, but if they do, these are both $100,000 type projects, and it would be great news. It would stretch our budget and help us get at some roads that we normally wouldn't undertake at this point in time. So, any questions on any of that?
We talked about this at our Door County unit meeting last Thursday night. We had our directors there from Wisconsin Towns Association, and they had no idea how many municipalities would be applying, so your chances might be good of getting some funds if it's a 90-10 cost share.
Well, Bark is $106,000, so I would love to have them come along and give us 90% of that and be able to address that problem. So it's good. We'll see what happens. All right. As a notice, if you're not aware, there's a spring election in April 7th of 2020, and 2 of our board members are up for re-election, so there will be 2 people or 2 opportunities if you're interested. Incumbent John Stavinus and Jim Nellen are up for re-election. So the first day, if you're interested in running for their positions, would be to take out papers effective December 1st. You could see the town clerk, who will take care of that with you, and you have to have the paperwork filed back with the town by Wednesday, January 7th of 2020. So, okay. The next 2 items on the agenda actually come from the Plan Commission, and Linda, you're going to get the fortunate person to have both of them. The first one is from DHM Farms, LLC. It's a request for a conditional use permit for establishing a commercial storage facility within an existing building on the property at 3910 State Highway 4257, which is also known as the Chalet Motel property, if you're trying to get a reference. So, Linda, I'll let you
Yes,
Do your
the Sevastopol Plan Commission heard this on November 13th. Mr. Schott, the property owner, was present along with his attorney Darren Andre, partner Don, and other partner Ramad, is it? I'm sorry, yeah, Ramos. So he explained his proposal to convert that existing storage building. You can sort of see it from the highway behind, it's more behind the residence there, next door to the former Chalet Motel. It was formerly called a museum, but it's been used for personal storage for the last few years. Anyway, they wish to convert that to a storage facility which would consist of 105 units in various sizes. There would be a firewall between sections of the building. There would be 12 units with individual doors on the 150 by 30 foot side. I believe you all have the diagrams there in your packets. That would be for larger items such as RVs, storage of cars, boats, whatever, and not climate controlled. And then the storage B side, again, if you want to refer to your drawing, would be a climate controlled storage with access. So you'd have a single access and then hallways going down to individual storage cubicles with mesh or wire ceilings allowing for air circulation. We looked at the existing footprint, and they're removing a tower type entrance from the drawing, so actually the footprint would be slightly smaller in this new project. They did not expect any concerns with dust, noise, or odor. There would not be storage of any toxic or hazardous chemicals, and anyone leasing the storage unit would be required to sign a lease contract. County zoning will address what can and cannot take place on the premises. There would be no restrooms in that building, and no outside storage would be allowed. We did have one of the neighboring property owners at our meeting. She did not have, she felt that this business would fit into the scheme of the town's plan. She mentioned a concern with the possibility of increased traffic, but the owner thought that there would be even less traffic than currently had with the motel, and that the Wisconsin DOT had been out to look at the area as well. There was some discussion on visibility from the road. Again, we will rely on the county to do the required screening, vegetation, or whatever. Also, lighting and signage would be per the county code. So the Plan Commission did recommend support to the town board, and I believe you have our reasons there when it came to address the various issues. So reason for the Plan Commission's decision. Proposal seems like a good business fit for an existing building. This would be an additional commercial business asset for the town by utilizing and repurposing an existing building. The project is in line with the town's comprehensive plan as a commercial area. Tenants' leases will control what can and cannot be stored on the area or on the premises. The expectation that traffic in and out would be reduced rather than increased, and no neighbors voiced an objection. Is the proposal consistent with the town's comprehensive plan? Yes, it is. That area is designated as commercial use. Concerns or objections that the town may wish to potentially address. We just want to make sure that the project is in compliance with all general and specific criteria of the county, including screening. So I don't know if the gentleman had anything to add to that.
Anything?
No, you pretty well explained it.
Okay. This is just a single road, though. Entrance?
Single entrance, right. Single entrance into the residence, the storage area, and what is soon to be apartments.
because it was it looked like a road was being put around the one side of the existing motel. Maybe it wasn't, maybe I just saw so much construction.
I believe
But
there's
still,
something
we-
going on with the basement area in the back of those two,
Storage units?
of the former hotel. We did not address anything with the hotel, correct,
So it's
Mr.
just
Nellens? We did not address anything,
Yeah.
just the storage units.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sorry.
Good question, is there any necessity for a turnout on that part? Because I know that's where people are starting to get up to speed and overspeed.
We did mention that, Tom, and again, you had indicated that the Wisconsin DOT people had been out to look at the area, correct?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they were-
had indicated that they were looking at putting a slow down speed lane to get in there.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Nothing else from the owners? And any questions from the board with respect to Linda's complete and thorough analysis?
I just have one question. You said a slow down speed lane
A turn off lane. Like
from both sides?
No, you would only do that coming in.
What I'm saying is, people would be coming in from the south and people would be coming in from the north. So would you have an extra lane on both sides of the road?
Well, that'd be up to the DOT what they're gonna do. They're gonna.
So they decide on what they want?
They decide on what,
Gotcha.
it's a state highway, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
We ran into the same thing with the Lobenstein development. They
Right.
determine what's going to happen and what won't happen regardless of our input. So they're very easy to work with. Okay, good. A motion to approve the recommendation would be in order.
I'll make that motion to approve that the town board go on record recommending the granting of the conditional use permit.
A motion by Jim and a second by Linda to approve DHM Farms request for conditional use permit. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Good luck. Thank you. And we'll be bringing our equipment over there to store, of course, you know that.
We hope so.
And I didn't say we were going to pay. I just said, don't confuse me. We have budget restrictions here.
Get somebody in Washington in trouble.
All right. Okay, next item on our agenda, and this is a pretty unique one. I had to ask twice about this one. These people apparently want a conditional use of a cemetery. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Bayside Cemetery has plans to expand the cemetery, which is located on 3890 Bayshore Drive. Totally unaware of this process, but the town does need to approve the certified plat, and it came before the committee, and so Linda got the opportunity once again to discuss this.
Bayside Cemetery, it's on the corner of Bayshore Drive and Gordon Road. A very beautiful cemetery, I must say. So this is on the order of if a subdivision would come before in our town.
Okay.
The town board needs to sign
Oh,
off on
plat.
it.
Okay,
Yes,
I
so a
gotcha.
plat. So Bayside Cemetery already owns this property. They just need to map it out into cemetery plots, lots, plats, whatever you want to call it. The map and the plat was professionally prepared by Bodwin Surveying and Engineering. Like I said, the land is already owned by Bayside, and they have platted it out for 99 lots. So after the cemetery plat is approved and recorded, then they could proceed to sell those lots.
So we have to make a
Looking for a
recommendation.
sign off on that plat, yep.
Same process.
Yep.
All right. Does anyone have any questions with respect to this?
Oh, the Plan Commission unanimously recommended support to the town board.
Okay. Comments? None? In which case, the occupants will not complain if
Does
we
it-
approve this.
Does it fit with the comprehensive plan?
Which plan? All right.
I'll make a motion that, that we support and sign off on the plat map for Ward 12 as submitted by Bayside Cemetery.
All right, we have a motion from Linda and a second from?
I will second that.
Second from Jim to support the resolution approving the expansion of the Bayside Cemetery. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. We can take care of that. Good to go. Thank you. All right. Looking for my resolution to tax everybody. Why is that missing in the file?
Oh, page 80.
Here he is, look, thank you, what a great guy. All right, next, little problem tonight with resolutions and ordinances. Next item is the resolution number 7, 2019 TB, Town Board, the establishment of the tax rate for 2019 to be collected in 2020. Prior to this evening's meeting, we had a hearing on the town budget, and we also had a meeting of the citizens to approve the tax levy. And this is the process that we as the town board use to actually implement it. So if you weren't here, I'll just briefly run through this, which is whereas a tax levy, our tax levy this year is $626,658, was adopted at a special town meeting held on November 25th, 2019, in accordance with section 60.10 of the Wisconsin statutes. And whereas the levy supports the 2020 budget as previously submitted at such a hearing pursuant to section 65.90 of the Wisconsin statutes with total expenditures of $1,237,250. And whereas, in accordance with section 60.40, paragraph 4 of the Wisconsin statutes, the town board adopted the 2020 town budget on November 25th, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the tax mill rate in support of such levy and budget be established at 0.8655 for the year 2019 to be collected in 2020. Based on the final statement of assessment for 2019 with an aggregate assessed value of $724,043,700 submitted by yours truly. So with that, we would need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by John.
Second.
Second by Mark to approve resolution number 7, 2019 TB, establishment of a tax rate for 2019. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Taxes. Send out the bills, Amy. Thank you, Jim. All right. All right. The next item is the ordinance for the adoption of the 20-year comprehensive plan. All right, and I think, I know that there are interested parties here, so I'm assuming that you have seen the two changes that were implemented by the Plan Commission and put on the town website delineating those two items. I think Amy did that on Thursday or Friday of last week.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the only two items that have been amended from 3. Did I miss one?
The Plan Commission members, we had to update to include Mr.
Oh,
Zettel.
correct, sorry. There were changes in content, but on the board members, yes, you're correct. So anyway, those were the changes. And with that, the ordinance to adopt the 20-year comprehensive plan is up to the town board tonight. It's ordinance number 2-2019. I think I can forego the reading of it unless somebody would like me to do so.
I can recap the changes if you want.
If you'd like to recap a couple of changes, Linda, you're welcome to do so.
Yep. Following our discussion again on November 13th, language on the right side of page 14 under significant natural features. Mr. Nellen, correct me if anything's correct, but that paragraph, again, it is posted on our website and it has been corrected. The Niagara Escarpment runs along the western edge of Door County right through Sevastopol. Its dolomite cliffs have been revealed at the former Latham and Smith Quarry property and the adjacent George Penny County Park on Bayshore Drive, and are highlighted as remarkable geological features. The second change was on page 20 under transportation. We recommended reinstating a sentence that had been deleted. So we have asked that the sentence under transportation, well-connected patterns will also allow people to safely and efficiently navigate the town's roads with and without personal vehicles. Development should encourage more active transportation, walking and biking in their designs. And then the third change was on the inside cover to correct the proper membership of our town plan commission roster, to eliminate Kurt Kroll and add Hugh Settle. Those were the only three changes.
And then your committee adopted it and sent it in a resolution form.
Correct.
And that was resolution 2019-01 PC.
Correct.
And that's what the town has before them. And in order for us then to adopt this, we will then rely upon ordinance number 2 that I just mentioned, -2019, ordinance to adopt the 20-year comprehensive plan. So is there any discussion from any of the board members? Hearing none, we would make a motion to adopt this and move on to something else.
Okay, and we need a roll call vote.
We
right?
do need a roll call vote.
All right, I will make the motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 02-2019, ordinance to adopt 20-year comprehensive plan as submitted.
We have a motion by Linda, a second by Jim.
Second.
Second to adopt the ordinance number 2-2019, and this is done by a roll call vote, and I will let the clerk do that.
Supervisor John Stavenus.
Aye.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Aye.
Chairman Dan Moffel.
Aye.
Supervisor Mark Hain.
Aye.
Supervisor Jim Nellen.
Aye.
Motion passes. Good to go. I will mention that there is one additional output from this, which will come from Bay Lake Regional, which will be a laminated, is it laminated more or less?
That's what we had initially been presented when we started this process a year and a half ago. He calls it a story plan or a storybook.
Storyboard.
And also, once it's posted onto our website, that it would be sort of interactive. People could, potential residents might want to refer to that to see what the town has to offer, or I'm not sure
It's kind of
how much.
kind of synopsizes or summarizes the comprehensive plan. It is not a replacement, it's just kind of like a useful, quick tips kind of guide, you know, or starter guide, if you want to call it that. We have not seen the finished document yet. He's been waiting for us to approve that, but it'll just be a tool for people to use versus having to rely upon reading 48 pages. So, all right.
I think you may have called it a blueprint.
Blueprint. All right. So we move on. Financial reports for October 2019. You have the account balance, the fund balance report. You have the transaction listings, and you have the budget versus actual January through October 2019. If you have any questions on any of those items, I will refer you to our clerk treasurer, who also has a brief treasurer's report. Amy?
We have received the last portion of our shared revenues and along with our charter franchise fees for the rest of the year. We have renewed our membership to the Town Advocacy Council for 2020. And we will end this year above budget in our legal category. And tax bills will be out in the mail by December 15th.
Well, that'll make a lot of people happy. All right. the financial reports, a motion to accept would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the financial reports for October 2019.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Mark to approve financial reports, October 2019. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next item is approval of vouchers, bills, and claims, October 22nd through November 25th of 2019. I assume you've all had a chance, all signed off?
Yep.
Okay. So we start with the infamous motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims for the period October 22nd through November 25th, 2019.
Thank you,
As
Linda.
submitted.
Thank you,
And I
Linda.
second that.
Second by, motion by Linda, second by Jim for approval of voucher, bills, and claims. Any comments, questions, anything? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. All right. We have next the county board report by Ms. Waite. But before I give her the floor, I guess I'd like to just publicly thank her for all the things that she has done for this town, if you're not aware of it. And I mention this, not, what do I want to say here? Linda's just been a great resource. As many of you know, she was the clerk treasurer prior to Amy's arrival, and she has helped us on more than one occasion bridge the gap or the learning curve, and I greatly appreciate her help. She helps me with the budget as well as Amy. I'm not by any means saying that Amy isn't there. I'm just saying that there are times it's great to have somebody with her knowledge base, and she's willing to step in and help out when she doesn't have to. So I just wanted to say thanks to her publicly.
Thank you.
Trust me, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So-
Well, it has always been my pleasure, as you all know, and you all know, my passion is the town of Sevastopol. So, well, among other things. The town is somewhere near the top. Anyway, the county adopted an $81 million budget on November 12th. And that was, I'll just round these numbers up. So an $81 million budget with a $30 million tax levy, with a per mill rate of $4.09 based on your equalized valuation. So you have to be, when you use that $4.09, you have to realize, like, there are only about half the municipalities in the county that are at 100%. So when you see your mill rate worksheet or your tax bill, because Sevastopol's equalized is only at 94 or 96%, it's higher than $4.09. I learned that today, that we are at 96%. Door-to-door rides, you may have heard something a few months ago. The county was struggling with what are we going to do with door-to-door transportation, the white vans that travel throughout the city and out here. Those rides are increasing slightly by a quarter or 50 cents, depending on whether you're in the city or the outlying areas. The ADRC bus has increased a little bit. It went from $1 to $2. However, it's still $2 round trip for lunch at the ADRC. And they do have really good lunches there, and everyone's welcome. The well sampling, we talked about that, I think, the last couple meetings. And the results should, if you did submit a sample, you should have received results by now. And there's going to be a follow-up and explanation get-together on December 10th in Sturgeon Bay. I'm not sure on that time, but if you did submit a sample, I'm sure they'll let you know when that's happening. I think we mentioned the 2020 census at our last meeting, and we do have a committee that's going to work on that. Myself and one or two other supervisors, along with other people out and about in the county, getting a committee together, mostly to promote and explain about the census that will be coming either digitally or by mail, depending on how you wish to receive it. The next meeting of the county board is Tuesday, December 17th. And I mentioned our Door County Unit meeting of Wisconsin Towns Association. Our WTA directors specifically thanked those towns that did join and pay the fee for the TAC, Town Advocacy Council membership. That helps support our lobbyists. So you saw the increase in the per mile for road aids. You can thank your lobbyists and TAC for that. They kind of thought that towns that weren't a member were kind of freeloading off the others that were supporting it with dues. So it does do some good for us. Again, they encourage you to apply for the MLS, the multimodal funds out there, if you hadn't already. And Mr. Kitchens was there, our representative Kitchens was there, and he mentioned that he is working on the room tax and filing your room tax reports by zip code, which we know what kind of problem that can have because the Sevastopol is 54235, the city is 54235. There's like 5 or 6 municipalities that use that same zip code, and it would be hard to divvy up the room tax. So he's working on trying to get that situated and finalized. My suggestion is to just use our HINDI code. Every county and every municipality has a code. Slap it on the report and you'd be good to go. But anyway, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Can I make a motion to accept the county board report?
Oh, can I add something?
Sure.
Okay, 'tis the giving season, so has nothing to do with county board or town board or whatever. Has to do with your heart. So you don't have to always give money. There's other ways you can help contribute. There's Adopt a Soldier program. There's the Boys and Girls Club. Again, it doesn't have to be money. It can be items, personal items or household items. Feed and Clothe My People, Tots for Toys, the Wisconsin Humane Society, the United Way, and the Door County Community Foundation. So, like I said, season of giving.
Okay, thanks again. Let's back up. I managed to maneuver over the top of oral committee commission reports. And there was one, the minutes from the Plan Commission of August 20th were included in your packet. And then the other one is, does anyone have an oral report that they'd like to make?
Let me just talk for a few minutes about the situation involving Clark Lake residents who have been notified apparently by Door County Broadband that the tower that is providing them their broadband, their internet coverage, is going to be decommissioned as of April 17th. I'm told that there's no grace period. That's it. It's going there. I know this only. The chair had asked me to call Randy Halstead, who is the chair for the town of Jacksonport. He in turn put me in touch with a fellow by the name of Clyde Hutchinson, who has been detailed by their town board to work on this matter. Clark Lake is divided between us and the town of Jacksonport. Town of Jacksonport is considering, and there was a meeting apparently last week, and my knowledge it reflects the conversation I had with a fellow about 10 days ago. So I don't know what transpired at the meeting. The town of Jacksonport is looking at putting up 2 towers. One is a fairly high tower that would serve principally the town of Jacksonport, but also would then communicate with another tower that would have to be built around Clark Lake to serve the Clark Lake residents. The estimate is that building that larger tower is going to run about $100,000. It's a couple hundred feet high. They are in discussions with Door County Broadband. Door County Broadband, I understand, has declared that tower to be obsolete. They don't even want to send people up it any longer. So they're as I said, they're decommissioning it. I just learned from the chair that there may be 2 or 3 other towers that are in the process of also being decommissioned. But the one we're most concerned about, because we do have residents in the town who live around Clark Lake, and they have been notified, as I said, that they're going to lose their internet service. There has been, as I understand it, a developing proposal to share the costs. The town of Jacksonport is going to submit an application for a grant from the state broadband office. It's run out of the Wisconsin Public Service Commission, seeking a grant of upwards of $50,000. They asked if we would be supportive. I had a conversation with the chair, and of course, we would indicate that we support them. I believe they've also gone to the county and will ask the county for support in that regard. But it's a request. And it's not clear if the request is positively acted on, when the money might be forthcoming. Door County Broadband is willing to put in a significant amount of its own money, and the difference would be up to the town of Jacksonport, and as was explained to me, they don't have any money. So they are considering other alternatives, private subscription, asking for donations to see if they can raise their portion of the money. But that's with regard to the larger tower. With regard to the smaller tower, they do have to find a place around Clark Lake. Those smaller towers run between $9,000 to $12,000. There would have to be, I guess, and John, you'd have a better idea. Not everyone would be served by that tower. Apparently, you'd have to have some repeaters on people's, that people then could connect with the tower.
Yeah, you would have to have a line of sight, I would think. You know, different towers are different, but if they had a repeater, they would have to bring it down into some kind of wire on the ground and then repeat it and then put it back out, so.
Well, they're working collaboratively with Door County Broadband to see if they can come up with a fix. So that's where it stands. It's not clear what the timing is, but there is a sense of urgency because people have been told that as of April 17th, they are going to decommission that tower. And then I would just mention with regard to the issue, it's been alluded to a couple of times, Supervisor Waite and as well as the chair talked about the ongoing issue with dealing with the online brokers, the Airbnbs of the world, and as of the first of the year, it's not clear whether or not they will start collecting room taxes on behalf of the hosts that do business with them. There's some indication that at least Airbnb may want to continue with the existing arrangement where the hosts would transact directly with the Door County Tourism Zone Commission. That would be ideal, quite frankly, but we'll see. Everyone has a significant interest in it, not just the towns who are dependent. They've built the amounts of room taxes into their budgets, but also the Door County Visitors Bureau is concerned. So this has gotten everyone's attention. There was an effort to see if an amendment to state law could be engineered before the end of the year because of the January 1 deadline. That's not going to happen. The Assembly has already adjourned for the year. So if there's going to be a legislative fix, it won't occur until probably the middle part of next year, given the legislative calendar. That's all I really can say.
Okay, thank you. I'll add two other footnotes to Jim's conversation with respect to Clark Lake and the internet, because you might be saying to yourself, why do we care? And there's two components to that. One is about half of the residents on Clark Lake, maybe even 60%, are on our side of the lake. So, and we have tried to focus as a town on trying to improve internet service. Haven't made a lot of success there yet, but the key component is that the information that's being shared with us from Door County Broadband is the best location for the tower is on the south side of the lake. And if it's going to be on the south side of the lake, it would require the town to drop out of Door County zoning for cell towers. And I'm not sure that at this moment whether we'd want to do that or not. And at the same time that is happening, different municipalities are asking the county administrator to relook, as well as the planning department, to relook at the ordinance to see if they could at the county level, tweak the ordinance to allow these small cell towers rather than have to go through the complexity that they have to go through today as if they were building a Verizon or Sprint one massive cell tower. So we have not yet been approached with that. We know it's out there, so that's kind of why we're tracking it as well. So, again, thanks, Jim. Okay, that takes us back to license and permits. You have a copy of the building permits as well as Door County inspections tally sheet for the month in terms of who went where. He has been working. It is, we should tell Brett that this is a nice, easy format to follow. Such an improvement over what we had to work with in the past. He should be given accolades for that alone. On the correspondence, you see copies of the payments that we have received. We did receive, by the way, a $600 reimbursement for the PC as part of the election upgrade to make sure that we're not as vulnerable with some of the older equipment that is out there, and ours fell into that category. We did receive shared revenues, as Amy mentioned earlier. You have a copy of the City of Sturgeon Bay's fire report. And for those of you who weren't here earlier, I mentioned that we're in the process of working with the city to attempt to renegotiate our fire contract, which has a 1-year extension on it. Work in progress. We also have a copy of a letter from the State Department of Natural Resources informing us that one of our town citizens, Dale Brower, has put 30 acres of his land into the Nature Conservancy, not Nature Conservancy, it is the Nature Conservancy, underneath Shivering Sands. He's working on doing that. And you also have a copy of who to contact for snow plowing if you need it when you get those phone calls. And the August room tax listing of those permitted properties. And that is the last thing you have in correspondence. So, this brings us close to the end. Announcements for next month is the Town of Sevastopol second annual Christmas party, which is Friday, December 6th from 5 to 7:30. I have heard a rumor that Santa will be returning. Yes?
Right, Mark?
Could be.
Yes. He will be returning, and if you come to our event and you have children or grandchildren, I'll tell you that this Santa is an exceptional Santa. You know, they all are, but this guy, this Santa, I don't know, he's got special reindeer. Anyway, join us that night. We have munchies, a few games. It was a very fun evening last year. We'll look forward to it this year. Next Board of Supervisors meeting, December 16th at 7 p.m. And items for next month's agenda, I will be bringing, with the change of, with Randy's retirement, I will be bringing my recommendation next month to come to the meeting to meet with you, because we will need to establish a legal counsel effective January 1. So I will put that on the agenda. Anything else that anybody else wants to be added? If not, let me know at a future date. Good to go? This brings us to John's favorite part of the meeting. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion by John to adjourn, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Mark. All in favor signify by saying aye, even though I was ahead. Aye. Do it again. Thank you. Good night.